We talk about Thursday night, obviously big, huge physical basketball team, and it's a game that really counts big.
Yeah, you know, a highly ranked team in the RPI, a very, very talented team, a team that represented our league last year in the NCAA tournament. They're very, very capable. They're back full strength after having lost Tyrone Watson, maybe their most valuable player. He was out about a month, and they're back at full strength. They're extremely talented, physical, long, experienced. We have our hands full. We'll have to go out there and hold our own in the paint defensively and on the glass to have a chance.
Is there anything you want to do differently from that first New Year's Eve game? I know you guys won, but is there anything you want to change that you didn't like from that game?
Yeah, a bunch of little things defensively. We didn't play great defensively. Our press wasn't a big factor. It's really the only game this year that we won with our zone. We played zone the last 15 minutes of the game, and heck, in all other games combined, I'm not sure we've played 15 minutes of zone. So we'll try to tune up our zone this week in case we have to go to it, but hopefully we don't have to go to it like we did here, and we're in a better defensive rhythm. Offensively, you know, I thought we played pretty well, and we'll hope to have a similar type of performance on that side of the ball.
Hey, Mike, Saturday night after the ball game, you talked about this time next week, I can't help if we do well on the road, we're going to be in the mix or be in the talk, so to speak. How do you keep your guys focused outside of the talk for two of the biggest games of the year for you?
Well, I think the biggest tool that I have for our guys in the locker room is that if you want to continue to be in the at-large conversation, we better go have some success on the road this week. You know, we better lock in on New Mexico State and play well to have a chance. And if we have success Thursday, we just improve our chances, and that's the bottom line. And then we'll move on to Denver. If we don't have success this week, puts a little bit more pressure on ourselves to win 3 in 3 days, which was our ultimate goal in September anyway. So the way that we're talking about it right now is that we have 2 different avenues right now. At the end of the week, we may only have one. Let's lock in and play really well this week and hope to still have 2 different avenues.
Obviously, senior night's over, but how much do you still need leaders like Brandon Gibson and JL to step up down the stretch with these last couple games and then the WAC tournament?
Really need them. They're very, very important, and I expect them to continue to lead and go out with a bang. It's as important to them as anyone on the roster. But we're also getting leadership from some underclassmen as well. Speedy Smith continues to be a big leader for us, as well as some of our other backcourt guys, Keon McNeil and Raheem Appleby. I like to think that we have a big group of leaders on this team.
Coach, when you recruited Speedy, did you have any idea that he'd be nearly averaging here down the stretch, double-digit assists and no turnovers?
That was the hope. You know, I knew when we were recruiting him how great of a passer he was, as good a passer as I've ever evaluated. And I said that after we signed him, before he stepped foot on campus. He was really coached in high school. A lot was demanded of him. They won a lot of games. He's a kid with a bunch of intangibles. He's gotten better and better. He's taken a lot of coaching. A lot of it has been expected of him and asked of him here, and he's really blossomed. He's really flourished, and he's embraced that assist turnover ratio as well. You know, he could average more assists, but he probably averaged a couple more turnovers a game too. Now he's gotten to be one of the best passers in the country, and he's also very, very sound with the basketball. But that's only half of it. He's an unbelievable competitor, and he's our engine.
Your team as a whole, your assist to turnover ratio is outstanding.
Yeah.
What's the secret?
Well, we've harped on it from day one. Again, our kids have embraced the fact that we can be really good defensively, as we're inconsistent at times offensively and always improving. The one thing we can do is really, really value the ball. It's important to this program. It's really important to this team. And we've made better and better decisions throughout the season. And I think we're in a pretty good offensive rhythm in that regard. Over the past month or so, we've gotten, probably 95% of the time, we've gotten a pretty good shot up. Guys have played within themselves and not tried to do things that they can't do.
Brandon talked about it Thursday night at the Utah State game. Where's this team's chemistry come from? He talked about how good it's been, and he's been around a long time and hasn't seen it as good.
I think it's, first and foremost, just a good group of guys. You know, young men that enjoy hanging out with each other off the court, on the court. I inherited a good group of kids, and we've signed high-character guys. And I think that's the bottom line.
Mike, for the sake of our previews, can you talk a little bit about Denver, something that we can look forward to airing on maybe Friday, Saturday?
Sure, Denver's one of the best defensive teams in the country. Their defensive numbers are off the charts. It's hard to execute anything against them. They switch everything. They're interchangeable like we are. Similar defensively in certain ways, but they don't pressure you as much. They really protect the paint. They're very cerebral, very tough physically, and then offensively they're very methodical. They make you defend. They wear you down. They're very structured. Unfortunately, we only have 48 hours to prep for that one, which probably takes more prep than anyone in our league. Quick turn, it would be a tough test for us.
When you look at Denver and you look at that New Mexico State-Denver game, Simbular really kind of forced his will. Now, of course, a 7'5" guy's going to be able to do that. Some. Do you think it was surely his size that did that, or did they find a weakness in Denver's defense?
I just think it's his size. You know, Denver's playing with a 6'6" center. They're a little bit undersized, even more so than us. And Simbular is just coming. You know, he's a freshman that's just getting better and better. I expect to see him playing in the NBA here sooner than later.
Hey, Coach, I don't know if we've seen a release or seen one yet. What's kind of your itinerary? Are you going to make that trip to Denver and come back Sunday and then go back to Vegas?
We're staying out west.
Staying out west.
Yeah, we're going to keep
Get used
breathing
to the home
that
cold.
air out west.
That thin air.
That's right. We'll be hanging out in Vegas, keeping our guys out of the casino, just preparing for a big game Thursday. We just thought it would be fruitless to travel across the country, get here and be here a day and a half and head right back.
Is there anything that you can do? I mean, how do you approach that since it is such a long trip? I mean, usually you guys are out 3-4 days and back home, but
Yeah.
is there any way to prepare for something like this?
Well, we did it last year, so we're trying to keep a similar routine as possible from a year ago. We'll give them off Sunday, and we'll try to have a couple activities in line so our guys aren't just laying around the hotel room all day. And fortunately, you're doing it with a good group of guys that, again, enjoy each other and that we enjoy being around. So we'll try to make the best of it and then get in the gym Monday and get in the weight room and keep with the same exact routine that we've had for 2 months now.
Has it hit you that the season is just kind of winding down?
No, it's just been such a blur. It's amazing. You'll hear someone say, "Wow, how fast has this season gone?" And it's so hard to believe. You're just always locked in on the next opponent. I guess we'll put it all in perspective here when it's finally over here soon.
Another reflecting question: when you took the job at Louisiana Tech, did you expect to have as quick a success as you have and at such a high level?
It would have been hard for me to believe in our second season we'd crack the top 25. We'd be 16-0 in league. I can't lie and say I expected to be 16-0 at this point. I thought we could compete for a championship. Who would have known that you may have to go 17-1 in this league to win a championship? Our defense has carried us, and I'm proud of the way that we've embraced that side of the ball. We've avoided injuries. We've been fortunate. My staff's done a great job, and we've signed the right guys to complement the guys that we inherited. So it's all worked out.
Has it been easier to recruit here than you expected?
Yeah, I mean, we're Louisiana Tech is a good brand name. We have a history to recruit to, and a beautiful town, a great community. We have facilities, and kids have been very open to our recruitment of them. And with this year's success, I think the underclassmen are even more excited about the potential of this program.
Coach, back to that Vegas itinerary, if you don't mind, too. After that trip to the Grand Canyon, I'm sure you'll take on Sunday. Are you going to have the opportunity to practice in the New Orleans arena on Monday, or are you going to have to find a high school gym? Or?
That's a great question. Justin Arsenault handles everything. He's running the program. I just do what he asks me to do. I go where he tells me to go. I can tell you what New Mexico State's going to try to run against us and how we're going to try to score against them. Next week, I hadn't got that far.
Mike, does last year's success in the tournament mean anything when you go there this year?
I think so. I think our kids definitely have an added confidence because we broke through last year. Hopefully not too much confidence, but I feel like we've handled that pretty well again over the course of these 16, 18 games. We've played with a certain amount of confidence, but also we've continued to have that chip on our shoulder, and we'll have to have the same thing. Nothing will be easy in the conference tournament. Everyone will be fighting for a chance to have their name called on Selection Sunday. but surely our kids are better off this year than they were a year ago, knowing that they've almost accomplished it, you know, that they got 2/3 of the way there.
This is kind of to piggyback off that question, but the tournament in Chattanooga earlier this year,
Mhm.
kind of the same thing as far as confidence and knowing the routine of playing 3-3.
Yeah, you know, in scheduling, that was one of the reasons that we did that, to get that 3 games in 3 days experience. And some of the teams that we'll be competing against got the same type experience, some didn't. We like to think that it'll be a factor for us. And I like to think that our depth gives us an advantage to a certain extent. If we're playing well and we can continue to ship guys in and out of the game and stay fresh, and have success the first 2 days, surely our depth can help us in day 3. But a lot of ball to be played before we get to Vegas.
How do you adapt that road warrior's mindset? How do you get into that?
Oh, great question. I think that, first of all, you have to have tough kids, you know, and they've, experience helps. We were able to win on the road a little bit last year. Early this year, having a little bit of road success, I think, has helped us. And I think the fact that we have a high character group has helped us, you know, stick together. On the road, you're going to experience more adversity than you're going to experience at home when you have the fans obviously yelling at you instead of yelling for you. And our kids, I think, the camaraderie that we have on our team has really helped us on the road stay together.